Saturday showdown. Nongshim Red Force versus Kiwoom DRX.
And it feels like the counter picking is very strong nowadays.
I think draft getting a lot of value, especially, I mean, top lane, there's a lot of picks that can obviously be such a thorn in your side, but as support as well, I think the support meta has really opened up, and instantly seeing 2 support bans in the offset. Obviously, Innovi is a flex, but on Life Esports, first pick, and yet they're banning the highest ban presence picks on the patch, which is a little interesting. I say that actually, I think Orianna is actually slightly higher ban presence than Karma, but normally I feel like as the team who are first pick, you kind of give the OP bans sort of responsibility to the second pick team.
Yeah.
But they're just banning Rumble, Karma in the offset, so a little bit interesting. That's kind of how it's played out.
Yeah, there are a lot of
Pantheon
really
too.
strong picks nowadays.
There are, and that's a factor with you being on first pick, is that you can't pick them all.
Yeah.
But Pantheon, Rumble, Karma, some very strong picks. Orianna is the remaining super OP, so I imagine D+ will probably ban it here.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It does mean that probably we're going to see Azir versus Ryze. If that ends up getting banned, let's see if they do ban it here. Third ban down to the wire. They ban Nocturne.
Yeah, so not wanting to play against Nocturne Orianna, but happy to potentially give over the Orianna. But we'll see if HLE go in a different direction. And what they opt to go for here. Because again, maybe if they feel like they want to go for... No, they're just going for the Orianna.
There's just a lot of strong stuff left in the mid lane, so maybe you would say, hey, we want to get something, some other role that's a little bit pinched, but you don't want to first pick support. Maybe they could have gone for jungle, but you don't want to first pick Xin Zhao, and Orianna's still very strong, so...
Yeah, I think
Good choice.
I think Orianna was just the expected one, and then D+ are kind of in this position where they're like, okay, you get that Orianna first pick, but what can we get in return? Azir's not a huge surprise. This gives you a bit more flexibility than going mid on 3, because you can go like jungle top. You can go like Jace and your jungle of choice, and then just pick Azir on 3. But that kind of hamstrings you into you have to go Azir on 3. You can't respond to what HLE do, so they end up going just the match of mid laners here, Azir, Orianna. Even in LCK Cup, that was kind of the matchup we saw a lot. And now, what are D+ going to pick here? Is it just going to be that Jace? It looks like it is.
Yeah, Jace 6-3 at the LCK so far, and one of the only blind pickable tops, it does feel like nowadays. Our pre-show was talking about Jace and Rumble being the 2.
It look like it's just going to be the Jarvan, so no Nocturne Orianna, but Jarvan Orianna. Pretty strong combo, gives that setup as well, giving you a combo that you can play aggressively around.
DK effectively baiting Kanavi into picking J4, a champ that goes very far in and maybe can't get out. One of Kanavi's biggest issues, but hopefully with the Orianna, it'll be okay.
Yeah, and it looks like they are just going to go for the Yorick here into the Jace, a matchup we've seen a good amount. Not the most prio early in this matchup, but once you hit 6, once you get the Maiden in the matchup, you really have a lot of pressure, and a lot of pressure in the side lanes. Also the double terrain. You have like the mini Cataclysm and the big Cataclysm to play around with, even though Yorick obviously not the best team fighter. And now for D+, are they just going to go Xin Zhao? It is a Lucid special sort of pick. Or you could go like Ezreal or something along that line. If you want to play an 80 carry, you can avoid the combo, because I think it's probably going to get banned. They instead opt to go for the Vi. So wanting some engage, some lockdown in this situation. Vi is here, not a combo that we feel super positive about.
I think it's just more so for the team fighting. Maybe they don't want to put career on an engaged support, so they want some kind of engage. If you only go Xin Zhao and an enchanter, you know, maybe you don't feel as good. I mean, Xin Zhao Lulu can be good, but it's not a lot of hard engage, so they want something that can get into that backline and threat.
Yeah. And especially with the Nautilus ban coming through, Nautilus we often see ban when you go in stuff like Yanara, Lulu, just Yanara in general, so maybe leaning towards that. Especially if the Vi goes in with a Lulu to back it up, that can make sense. So I imagine HLE will start looking towards bans in that vein, and they do just immediately take away the Yunara, so that's going to be not an option here.
Yeah, definitely a good idea. Going to be interesting to see where Ezreal falls. I feel like especially Smash loves to pick that one up if possible. Karma is, of course, banned, but...
I mean, I think Ezreal's so good here into the Jarvan and Orianna. Really strong option. Ashe Seraphine, still a potential, and HLE can pick it up together. Nami ban comes through. Obviously saw some slight changes for the pick, but still very strong with the Corki. And I think one of the difficulties for D+ here is that if they want to lean towards the Ashe Seraphine, kind of have to pick a one at a time. And we've seen teams figure out some responses to that you can do. So we'll see where they lean with this. I wouldn't be too surprised if it was just the Ezreal here. We know what to pick. Smash is very confident on.
Yeah, it's a good individual pick as well. I feel like you can pick a lot of different supports with it. But still a lot of thinking going into this and some head shaking from Smash, but there is going to be the Ezreal as we expected.
Yeah, my concern with the Ezreal here is that Ashe Seraphine into it, what you pair the Ezreal with to survive this lane. Because we've seen Ezreal Karma into Ashe Seraphine do well. You have the early pressure, you do lose some of that at 6. Nico has a good amount of poke, so I guess that's the avenue Kriya's looking at. Not quite as reliable as Karma, but a pretty good option. And it does give you that engaged threat. You have that die potential with the Vi to sort of threaten this squishy bot lane. But I just feel like when it comes to 5v5, that Jarvan engage with the Seraphine ult on top is so devastating.
Yeah, it does feel like HLE's comp is all going in the same direction, whereas D+ Kia definitely struggled to get a good answer in the support role. But the Nico definitely a strong individual pick and can take over games at times, and Lucid's on his Vi. So even though we see those picks, well, at least the Vi a little bit less, definitely a lot of comfort for them.
I think there's definitely still avenues for D+, right? They have a lot of pick potential and engage potential onto some immobile backliners that they can find. And some strong mid-game spikes. But ultimately, I feel like for HLE, the Yorick matchups feels great. They have really strong engage laid with those big, powerful ultimates. If you don't blow up this backline, I think they just press the R buttons and explode the enemy team. It's like that straightforward, sort of simple composition. You know, the sort that when you were back in Gold Elo, you'd play ranked team 5s with your friends. You'd pick like the Amumu MF. It just plays itself. And I think that's what you need to do, just get to the team fights, and it kind of just plays itself. As long as you're not getting engaged on by the Vi Nico, just press your R buttons and you're good to go.
Yeah, and I feel like HLE, they really need that right now. Everybody on the same page, going in the same direction. That's what we want to see, but we'll see if DK can finagle their way to an interesting game 1 as well. As we're ready, HLE versus DK for game number 1. Alrighty, game number 1 of the day. And it definitely could be a longer one here today. We've had a lot of fast days, a lot of 2-0, 2-0. We have had, in fact, only one best of 3 go to 3 games, and that was Gen.G versus KT. And I feel like that's not too surprising, especially given the way that that one all played out. BDD picking up the player of the match and all that. But today, hopefully, these two teams should be relatively evenly matched. And then, of course, later on today, we have T1 versus Gen.G. Perennial matchup that we always see here at the LCK and always ends up being a banger.
So, something to note in terms of summoners, Smash has barrier. And often we see this when you're playing into something where you expect cleanse, because they're putting so much emphasis on the early 2v2. Because the cleanse gets a lot of value once you get to teamfights, once you have those ults available for the Ashe Seraphine. But in the early trades, we see so much of those tempo trades, the early barrier. The 2v2 not having the barrier is such a big hit. The problem in this situation is that without cleanse, you're so vulnerable to this bot lane's ultimates later on, and you have a Nico with you.
Yeah.
And Nico cannot rush Mikhail's, like, at all. You need Rocket Belt to make your champion function. You need to be able to add to your engage. So, you know, at earliest, Korea's getting a Mikhail's second item, which is so late into the game.
Yeah.
Ezreal as well, if you're buying a QSS, you know, that's going to be pretty delayed. It's delaying your spike. So essentially, Smash, if he gets hit by one of these ultimates, he's just dead.
Just dodge, says Smash. At least he's playing Ezreal. That's really all I can say about that. And we do have a bit of an invade, you know, trying to use that priority from the bottom side with the Ashen Seraphine. Kanavi is invading. I guess it's technically Kanavi and Delight coming on in here and trying to take the blue away. Let's see if Lucid wants to go for it. He's going to go in on this one. Still comes down to the smite fight. Kanavi picks it up. He is pretty low, but at the end of the day, they don't have enough damage to punish.
That's why it's so important that he had Prio mid as well in this situation, had the backup there.
Smash is going in. He's taking names. He says, this is my spot here on DK, and I will make you flash end barrier away from me.
Yeah, had to burn both summons there. It's actually really important, though, that the Mystic Shot didn't hit and the cooldown refund didn't come through, or maybe that could have been a lot worse there for Guma. As you saw, Smash's Mystic Shot, I think, came up just as he flashed away. So could have been really dire there. You saw Guma trying to move over there and ends up getting punished for it. But ultimately, Kanavi getting a lot from that invade thanks to the backup from his lanes. And I think, again, if he didn't have Prio from mid as well, if Zeka didn't have the push, he would have been punished.
Yeah, ends up working out for them in the end there on the invade. And take a look at top lane. Looks like Zeus is already doing a pretty good job here into Shiu, even before level 6. So, yes, Jace is very blindable. He has a high win rate. Yorick is definitely one of the picks, though, that can be very annoying for Jace. Just very tanky, great sustain. You know, the burst doesn't necessarily stick against the Yorick, and you have a lot of damage that you can push back into the Jace as well if he goes for that all-in trade. So we're going to see Shiu have to TP back to the top lane pretty early on here.
Yeah, you can see, even though the early levels, Shiu had that priority, just did really rebounding pretty hard in this manner. You have to be a little bit careful, HLE's bot lane, because they burned 3 of their 4 summoners in that invade, that whole passage of play. So, despite the fact that their 2v2 based on the champions is strong, they're at a pretty big deficit right now. And they're trading pretty well overall, landing some good poke where they can, but you know, they have to be so cautious about getting caught in an all-in without that extra power. And I think this is really where I was talking earlier about Smash having the value of that barrier being available. So with the summoner advantage, you have so much extra power, but you can see these good trades from Delight and Guma means that even with the summoner disadvantage, it doesn't really matter because you're not getting into an all-in where you're going to be in those summoners.
Yeah, as what's going on here? We have Kanavi in the top lane. First blood going to be given over to the Homalife Esports jungler, as we saw a heavy trade between our 2 top laners, and Kanavi's right there to punish.
Yeah, not sure how that started off, but Shiu, I think, trying to commit to the kill onto Zeus. I think going, I'm probably dead anyway. I'm going to try to finish him off, and ends up getting caught out. Delight.
Well, this is going to be rooted straight with the Vi right there. He doesn't even get to flash away. And now Guma's all alone down here. They have a push going. And, I mean, Kanavi's going to have to sprint down here to do anything to save Guma. It looks like, yeah, Kanavi nearby, and they're just not going to go for the dive. Still, a nice kill onto him, as here's the trade in the top lane.
Yeah, so she was just going for it all in before. He was just looking for this before Kanavi. I thought he started going for the all in because Kanavi was there, and it was like, there's no way out, I have to all in. He was just looking for the all in regardless. And here, Delight actually had, I believe, a control ward on him at this point, unless he bought it just after he died. But either way, just face check that brush. Pretty dangerous move to make, and just ends up immediately getting punished. And this is one of the things with having an enchanter. You know, obviously we've seen a lot more squishy supports enchanters, but you are very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Things like a Nico Vi combination. He kind of just got exploded before he could even flash.
Very close, but Kanavi is going to pull off another buff steal here. And he's looking for some Raptors as well. He's up a level here on a Lucid, and essentially, with the buffs, there's not really much that Lucid can do. He just has to give it away. Shiu hops in, takes a ton of damage from Zeus, and even the Maiden's getting on in there. She was not having a fun time in the top lane. Yeah,
I mean, the lane was already starting to feel pretty bad. The matchup is not great, but the fact that he died as well from bad to worse, and this ward coverage means that Zeus feels so comfortable. He knows exactly where Lucid is, knows he's not under threat right now. Lucid hasn't quite hit level 6 as well. Leeches are off that minion, actually, so now level 6 available. Zeus should respect it a little bit at least. But yeah, she was struggling under this pressure.
Well, Delight's going to find another member of D plus Kia. He's not really enjoying all of the hurt that he's taken so far.
He needs to be a little bit more cautious about checking those brushes.
I like that from Career, actually pushing forward, but now it might cost him as he is going to have to flash the arrow. But Kanavi's here with Flag Dragon ult. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get on top of the Nico, though. But the root comes down on a smash, and now he's got a flash and barrier, but it's just too much damage. And under the turret, they get the kill on a smash.
Just a phenomenal root there from Delight, reading the Arcane Shift. And oh, Showmaker!
Meanwhile, yeah, Showmaker, okay. Playing with fire, he will be okay.
Oh, very close there. Zeka even popping the triple tonic adapted potion for the extra damage. Now Guma,
he does have flash.
He's dead, 100%.
But yeah, I think the Vi just has enough damage even under the turret. Guma's just not even gonna bother flashing.
That was a massive waste of summoners.
I just assumed 100% he wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
And then he did. What was that?
Yeah, like at best you trade flashes with the Vi, which isn't worth because you're an Ashe, right? Like, there's just no way you get out of that situation. So, don't agree with using the summoners there. I think you just accept your fate. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Here, though, the ult burns Career's flash, and then he heals to get away. But this from Delight, that root reads the Arcane Shift, catches at almost max range, and then the Cataclysm from Kanavi catches them both. He's tanking the tower for a while, though, so doesn't stay for the second. But yeah, here, I think if you just accept your fate, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not good, right, that you died, but it's not the end of the world. But I think burning the summoners and dying anyway feels really bad for HLE.
Yeah. When you're playing Ashe against Vi, I mean, there's just so much opportunity. Lucid has been pressured so much in the jungle by Kanavi, who did a fantastic job of invading and using the prio and all that, but now we have a 2-kill Vi, and Lucid is going to get his first item quicker than normal, and maybe he's just going to return down here to the bottom lane. And all of a sudden, Lucid kind of has an in into this game, which he didn't potentially have before.
If I'm D+, then particularly this immobile backline, the Ori, the Ashe, the Seraphine, I would just be, anytime you can burn the summoners, I'm like, that's my target. You know, Guma has their flash, that's my target. We're going to kill him as much as possible. When we want to fight for something, we're going to lead with an engage onto that pick. So I'm looking at the fact there's a Hextech Dragon available. If we want to fight it, we're engaging onto this Ashe. And it just makes it so much more difficult to start the fight for HLE, because you have to bear in mind that you're probably just losing your AD carry in the offset, because there's very limited counterplay into a Vi Nico. Ezreal, even on top of that, who can just ult across the top. Now, we do see HLE setting up here for a play. There's limited vision from D+ here, but they do see the control ward being placed. They get some information. Oh, is it? Okay. The Maiden sacrifice.
Yeah.
Atlas would be so upset.
Maiden does go down. At least it's not killed. DK do want to fight for this, though, as Zeka is in the bush. He's going to find Showmaker, who's going in, pushes the Ashe, and Guma's just free food. But the re-engage here from HLE is pretty good. They take out Showmaker. The Drake does go to Lucid, though, as now Zeka on the chase is going to get the Nico, but Lucid is very strong. Once that kill on a Showmaker, takes a ton of damage, but they do get it. But now Smash is unleashed. Nobody's attacking this Ezreal. They take down the Vi, and Smash so low goes barrier, but it's not enough. Kanavi is too strong at 4-0 on the Jarvan.
So much value gained from the extended fight with the healing, with the shielding from the Seraphine and Kanavi. Just doing so much work there. This is kind of what I was talking about, though. Showmaker gets caught and went, you know what? we'll take an Ashe. At least Guma manages to get the ult off on the offset, and it's a decent turnaround. In return, Kanavi punishing the Azir, and Delight getting this big ult off. We also see Zeka just taking out the Nico. But then here, it's just these rotations of abilities. Kanavi gets his knock up onto Lucid. Delight's getting the damage down, the healing, shielding. The Triumph procs coming in. And that stun at the end that comes through with the slow. It was so close, actually. You could see Smash trying his best to get the damage in. Just not able. You know, lethal tempo stacked, but not able quite to cut through. A close fight. But HLE managing just to pull ahead in it, but didn't get the dragon, ultimately.
Yeah. That's definitely pretty big, but if I'm HLE, I'll take the gold lead instead. I'll take my gigantically fed Jarvan, and I'll look to take the rest of the objectives on the map, and should be just fine.
We've been quite critical of Kanavi and his overaggression that we've seen from him, sometimes not being very responsible with his gold leads. But there is, especially from his time when he was on that JDG lineup, who were trying to make the Golden Road run, he was just so formidable in team fights. Just really excellent, and just a great understanding of his role and how to perform in them. And I think really displaying that here, and just kind of putting a clinic on. Now he is monstrously fed in this game, most gold in the game.
Yeah.
Not something you always see from a Jarvan, but he's such a big threat. And if he stays alive, which he likely will, right? You have essentially, like, I mean, Orianna's not a full-on enchanter, but kind of double shields.
Yeah.
Double enchanters with HLE. If they just keep shielding him, he's going to keep getting off damage, keep getting rotations of abilities. He's such a problem for D+ right now.
Lucid just gonna kind of face check. We did see a bit of a rotation down here from D+ Kia. And now Kanavi,
nice arrow.
He wants it. The arrow is spot on, as there's the extension. They use everything to kill Lucid. So many ults thrown in, but it's definitely going to be worth it at the end of the day, and that's going to be another blue buff here to Kanavi on top of it all.
You know, we've seen a good amount of Seraphine. We've seen so many ults with, if I'm being honest. That was a great extension, though, just to use that to connect on the target. And now looking for more.
Yeah, looking for career, and is going to go in on a smash. I mean, this Kanavi is... He's able to be over-aggressive now because he is so fed. And, of course, there's nothing really they can do about it.
Yes, him being fed is why he's being over-aggressive. He definitely wouldn't do this if he was behind.
Surely not. Yeah.
But I think showing that, you know, if you're this strong, you can just play like a psychopath and get away with it. Putting a lot of pressure down. And while all this is happening on the bot side of the map, Zeus is just having a great time in the 1v1 matchup, as we expect. But all comes down, that will interrupt the recall from the Ashe. Guma's still sitting on components, so looking to get a recall off and complete an item. And yeah, so it was just a great arrow coming through here on a Lucid, and then the extension that comes through using your AD carry to land the ult, the chain. And again, it's not the most complex thing, but like I said, we've seen so many just whip. The one I love the most is like the R flash on Seraphine. We've seen so many of those just completely whip.
Yeah.
So yeah, Delight.
And Lucid's so far behind here. I mean, he's trying to get into the pit. He's trying to go for a steal.
Excellent testing. There's a TP coming.
I don't know about this. Career is going to find 3, though, and there's the sweep on a 2. The Shockwave only hits 1, but they only get the Seraphine at the end of the day. But still very low health bars here. Zeus has to run away, and Kanavi as well is just going to run as Career tries to go straight first into a Orianna, and he finds out why you do not do that generally. So that's a free kill for Zeka.
And that was a scary one for D+ to keep chasing. There was still gas in the tank for HLE. They still had the Cataclysm available. And honestly, Delight didn't end up using his cooldowns. So, you know, it was a good initial engage. They blew up Delight. They got that pick on the offset, but I think they should have just taken what they got and respected HLE's threat. I think initially they were trying to look for Kanavi. Just didn't have the damage or the lockdown to blow him up. So engage comes through. But they kind of lay these CC not in the best way. It's like at the same time, and they don't really focus down onto Kanavi. They try and kill Zeus. And he gets out, Kanavi gets out, and then Korea chasing him, the Orianna just gets exploded. And yeah, Kanavi's still healthy, he still has Cataclysm, so chasing more there would just be crazy. So HLE get Herald, still have a pretty sizable lead. You can see that D+, they have the engaged threat, they have the potential to explode targets, but HLE still have a big lead, and Shiwu, I think...
Yeah. Speaking of engaged threat, they want to get Shiwu. They're just waiting for his flash before going in on the Cataclysm, and Lucid says, I'll get in there with you, why not? And does get charmed up and slowed up, not able to do anything or save his top laner, so...
Yeah, I mean, look at Kanavi's items right now. Full 2 items.
6 and 0.
Completed. He is very fed right now. And again, just playing so aggressive and just with the support of his team, getting away with it. I feel like this is kind of the delicate balance. Oh! That was close.
If that hits, I think Showmaker dies, and
he does,
he might
even
just
though it
die
didn't.
anyway.
Okay, I think I can say with certainty, he definitely would have died of a hit.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
I like even fishing as well here.
Well, gonna find some members of DK. It is Ocean Soul, by the way, as HLE did pick up the Cloud Drake.
I think, you know, we've seen a lot of Kanavi over-aggression. And we've seen, you know, in the Bro series, he was being aggressive, the team was backing him up. It wasn't the cleanest series, but I think it's just like HLE finding out how they want to play and figuring out, like, Kanavi is going to be this aggressive. Like, how much do we want to rein that in? And how much do we want to follow that? I think is really the question and the balance they need to find. It's like, you can only limit him so much. I think that's what we're kind of understanding. And there's definitely big positives to his style of play. It's just finding the balance that works for the team.
You got to get everybody on the same page regardless of what you choose. That's going to be the mid tier 1 going down, and Kanavi's going for more. Gets smited. Goes in! And this time you do not want to follow up on that. That is a shutdown to the Ezreal.
Okay, so I've been analyzing this game, trying to find the limit, the scientific limit of how aggressive should Kanavi be. And you know what? I just found it.
I think that was a very obvious one.
That was it.
I think.
Yeah, you think?
I don't know what he was thinking.
You know what? Maybe we need some more insight. We should get the specialist to weigh in on this. What do we think? Was that too aggressive? Maybe his team just weren't following him.
He's like, guys, I'm really strong. We go in on this. They're like, what?
Like, maybe if you actually look at the bottom of your screen, Guma, Delight, and Zeka all had flash. Why don't they flash under the tower to follow?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Why didn't they use their abilities at all?
Because Kanavi at that time didn't have flash. He couldn't flash out. Why didn't they flash in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question.
I think we should have seen at least some ults thrown out there, you know?
True.
At least just as a show of camaraderie. You know, we're all in this together. It's okay, Kanavi.
I wonder what the comms are like.
What? Yeah, just Ezreal and the Seraphim.
I wonder what the comms are like going into that situation. Like, I wonder if he said, yo, watch this, as he, like, flag and drag in.
Here. Going in. Kanavi, no!
I wonder
Not
if, like,
again.
I wonder if, like, Guma was like, hey, Kanavi, I bet you can't flag and drag into the tower. And he just, like, says, bet. Like, maybe, for all we know, maybe the other members of HLE are egging him on. Like,
yeah. We don't have access to the comms. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, maybe they think it's funny.
I think it's funny. I have no stake in whether this team wins or not.
In terms of the positive impacts in terms of winning the game, I don't think that was a good play. But in terms of the comedic effect of that play, for morale, I think that was actually a pretty fantastic play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Gave us something to talk about for about 2 minutes, so that was important as well.
For sure. And
we didn't have any action.
I'm definitely grateful, so thank you, Kanavi.
Yeah. I mean, 16 kills in 21 minutes is already pretty good pace. I do wonder if we slow down from here, though, because if you're DK, you have Ezreal, you have
Azir. Collapse here.
So not much slowing down, perhaps. They're looking for Zeus, and Career's also on the way, and that's the ult into Zeus. Goalie wall comes down, but it's just too much damage. Too much lockdown with the Vi, and they get him.
Try to TP out, but Vi just has such short cooldowns for the CC out of it. So fighting a window where Zeus was pushing, there just wasn't really anything HLE was doing on the map. You know, we have this dragon in 50 seconds, but it's an Ocean Soul. It's only one dragon apiece. It was a pretty late initial dragon take, so it's not a huge priority. And that kind of goes to your point about the game slowing down. It's like, how do HLE push the pace off this game? They have engage, pick potential, but, you know, we have to see that. Also, something to mention. So Korea is going for, it looks like a Seeker's second. So no Mikhail's going to come out. Smash has gone for Serpent's Fang. In fairness, there is a lot of shielding on HLE across the team. But that means like his armor pen item likely 4th, maybe Endless Hunger 5th. So like QSS, maybe never. You know, maybe
just
6th.
dodge.
But it means like you don't have an option against this CC. It is just dodge.
Maybe forever. Maybe for the rest of this game.
Yeah. I mean, maybe like last time, QSS. Maybe he just grabs it and sits on it. I don't know, fits it in somewhere. He is ahead on gold compared to his counterpart, so he's at least doing okay in that regard. We'll see.
Yeah. You know, the Kanavi shutdown certainly helped a lot in terms of that gold number. And this is the issue. I mean, HLE, you're not going to force DK to a fight on the Ocean Drake. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And they know that. They're still going to take the objective. That's fine. But they still have this question to answer, which is, you know, can we really force a Baron fight?
And I like what D+ have done here in that when HLE move the Dragon, immediately just sweep it and start getting vision down towards the Baron. And sure, a lot of it's going to get swept out. But if you keep a couple of wards up, does make it harder for Kanavi and the rest of HLE to make a proactive Baron player just move in. You can see, you know, HLE are not even trying to move in too deep in this Baron area, so there's still some wards set up in the vicinity. They're trying to push in now, but just getting poked a little bit, getting threatened.
Yeah. Smash isn't in a lot of danger unless he gets hit by CC. Which, again, he doesn't have an answer for, but if he saves Arcane Shift...
Just don't get hit.
Or the arrow.
It's that simple.
It's definitely one of the storylines of this game that I'm going to be looking forward to in the team fights, because if he does get hit, it might just be GG. So
yeah,
he's really playing on the knife's edge in this one. Or maybe he just buys a PSS next. We'll have to wait and see. And the Seeker's Arm Guard was finished by Career.
Which, I mean... I kind of get, because you have just been getting exploded by the Orianna, but also, if you get your ult off, then, I mean, who cares if you die, you know? Your job's kind of done. But maybe the problem is, like, you're concerned about not even getting your ult off, you know? We'll see. Either way, that's just one of the concerns with Neeko, is that, like, I think she's, like, the worst support in terms of like rushing Mikhails. I think like there's a lot of other supports. You can actually just rush Mikhails, if not first and second. And I think Neeko is kind of like the most, like you have to go Rockavelt first. Yeah. That's like mandatory. I feel like you could go Mikhails second, but first feels like you need Rockavelt, so.
Yeah, and even then you're Neeko, so a lot of the time you're going to be engaging and maybe not in the best position. You know, a lot of other enchanters are in the back.
True.
Waiting for their AD carry to get CC'd.
But even then, like, I feel like, you know, we see melee supports just go to Mikhail sometimes, because, like, sometimes the enemy team's engaging on you, you end up in range AD carry. If you're engaging, then, like, it's less of a concern, because, you know, these ults, like an Ash Arrow is not going to hit you AD carry if the front line's in the way. HLE are just starting up the Baron now. Nice rocket belt to dodge.
That is big. No shockwave, and HLE definitely going to have to pull off of this one. Arrow. Just dodge it.
Just dodge.
Says Smash. He's got a tunneler next. So.
Yeah, so they fished for a play. They tried to find the pick angle, and actually were unsuccessful. And now with two big ults on cooldown, D+ kind of just know there's no real threat. You're not going to make something happen here. I say that,
Yeah, going in onto Lucid, a lot used to take him out. He's able to peel perfectly on a Kanavi, as there is the charm on a smash, but here comes Showmaker as he's going in, but maybe a little bit too far, and the team is not able to follow up. Career essentially just trying to peel for the team, but actually Smash is able to get a pick in trade for Career's life. But at the end of the day, Kanavi remains at full health.
So he was me thinking a fight wouldn't come from this passage of play, right? Big ult's not been available for HLE, but they managed to find something. Showmaker, not the best Azir attempt we've seen, but they managed to take out the AD carry and managed to get Kanavi's GA. So they end up looking for Lucid, thinking if we get on top of the Vi, she can't dash away, but she just says, fine, I'll trade for your GA and flash out. This ult get a lot of value. You know, no Mikhail's there, catching Smash.
Double flash away.
Yeah, so lots of summoners been for HLE. Showmaker getting those in terms of value. And then Korea setting up to get the Ashe in return. And I think the Ashe being down is pretty pivotal for kind of denying the Baron potential, not having that DPS available. But we kind of take stock, and you know, both bot laners on HLE been flashes. And in return for D+, it was Lucid and Showmaker. I think by that metric, I think D+ are pretty happy with how that went, even though they traded down in terms of kills, right? They got Kanavi's GA, and they got really high value flashes. So I think they're pretty happy. In terms of setting up for the next fight, you have two great targets to go on. You've denied Kanavi's GA, so if he overextends, you can just take him out. And you still have Nico Flash. So I would actually be prepping to fight this dragon. They have vision on the dragon itself.
Yeah. It's a good opportunity for them. They're going to see a big ult in Aguma, but some healing is going to come through. The arrow denies Lucid's entry. And now Career over the top finds Guma, but the shockwave is perfect. As Showmaker going to get another flash, but immediately goes down. A smash too low. He has to back away from the fight. And so does Lucid. Man, that shockwave getting so much value for Zeka in that fight.
Yeah, Zeka getting huge value, and honestly, the engage looked so good, but I think D+ just kind of rushed it a little bit, because Korea, he finds a beautiful angle, but no one was quite there to follow apart from Shiu, and he just didn't have the damage. HLE holds strong. They have the shielding to keep their carries alive, and they'll turn straight onto the Baron. I think there was definitely also a bit of wallet dip there as well. You know, 6k gold lead going to help out in those situations. So we look at the replay, and you'll see Lucid has to dodge away from the arrow. But when the engage comes through, right here, Shivu goes in. There's no cleanse on Ezreal, so Ezreal gets CC, doesn't hit anyone. Showmaker comes in, but only kills the Seraphine. Guma survives all this, despite not having flash available. He stays up. Zeka does his job perfectly, and for what was such a good engage from the D+ support, the follow-up's just not there, and I've got to say, I think Smash might be regretting not having Cleanse available. Sat through so much CC there. Maybe a QSS could have also helped in that situation.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too, because he had barrier for the lane, and he actually died after using it from the Kanavi gank early on, if you remember, so not even getting too much value out of that in this game. And yeah, still no answer for that. And HLE with the Baron push coming in the top lane. It's gonna send Yorick into mid, it looks like. But you mentioned wallet diff. Maybe the wallet's just a little bit too heavy this time around, as it's almost 8,000 gold. They're looking for this top inhibitor. Even an arrow nearly gonna hit Smash, but not quite.
Does just dodge away there and keep out of it. A little bit close. They are trying to fish for the Yorick, but Zeus is playing very respectful, just playing back. He knows he can just let the minions do the work. Doesn't need to play super aggressive, especially with these waves pushing in top lane as well. He can play the patient game. They have eyes on Lucid now.
Oh, the shockwave, the ball was hiding under the turret. Smash gonna get chunked out, as now they're gonna bring the Vi on over. Nice knockback, and even Showmaker here. They should be able to take him down.
Okay. I said Zeus was being patient. He was, and then he stopped being patient. Ends up dying there, getting caught out. So just kind of put a stop to the Baron push there, but the Baron power play is still 1,700 gold. There's a huge lead right now. It's a crystalline overgrowth. When you're a Sheen champion as well,
you gotta
I get
win.
it. You see it, it's just the dopamine from just hitting it. I understand. It's wrong. But I can't fault it.
But why does it feel so right?
It feels so good. It's the noise as well. It's just, it's irresistible, you know? It's one of those things where can you blame him? Absolutely not.
Well, I'm sure his team isn't going to be all too happy about it because they have not broken down a single inhibitor turret.
I'm certain Kanavi's not going to fall in for that sort of
Like,
thing.
good play, yeah.
Kanavi's
I
like,
would have done the same thing.
Kanavi's like, whoa, you're being so over-aggressive.
Well, Smash is just dodging all of the arrows, so they keep trying to hit him, and they're not. So, in this sense, the arrows aren't going to get the job done.
Oh, Korea was being sneaky there because it's...
Okay, hiding on bush, looking for Lucid.
So you know how cannon minions at this point, there's like different number of regular minions at this point? It gets very confusing with Nico. It was honestly a kind of a sleeper buff to Nico. You know, at the start of the year, they changed the number of minions in the game. Like, it gets harder to count the minions now when there's a Nico. And keep tabs, like how many minions is supposed to be. Look, there's 2 casters. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. So when you think 3 casters, you see 3, you're like, yeah, that's normal. No, it's not. There's a Nico. Sneaky. Devious.
Very sneaky.
Yeah.
And this is not very sneaky, though, from D plus Kia. They do want to stake their claim over this Drake. They do not want to give an Ocean Soul over to Homolife Esports, especially with the Yorick and the Jarvan being what they are. Just going to ult on in. Everything thrown into Lucid. And once again, the peel comes out here on a Kanavi. Extension on the Seraphine ult. Not going to hit. Lucid still alive. And now the re-engage only going to find Kanavi as Career does go golden and no follow-up comes through. So Career does go down. And now Lucid just a little bit too low. Has the GA, but doesn't want to use it for nothing. Showmaker is looking for the play. Gets a nice sweep on it too. Goes golden. And now Smash looking to chip away. And Zeka just barely alive still. And the Maiden's getting to work on the Smash. And so he has to back away. The GA is going to get procced and he does get killed. And now level 20 Zeus is just a little bit too tanky as here come the ghouls. Smash is trying to run away from the little ghouls. The Zeus goes in, gets the kill on the
it's again the globe.
Yeah, and now Smash maybe a little bit too slow.
Oh, the ghouls! The ghouls!
Oh, Smash. Okay, he's going to get into the fountain as HLE just barely going to win that fight.
I mean, Zeus was getting such an insane amount of teamfight value on Yorick.
Yeah.
Not a pick we expect to see carrying the team fights, but he actually had such a huge amount of impact. The ult for the Seraphine not getting the value they'd hoped for here. But Korea, unfortunately, burning a lot of flashes and buying time with the stasis, but not really achieving too much, unfortunately. It was a good attempt. And then Showmaker getting this massive shuffle. This could have been the turning point. One of the frustrations with playing Ezreal into Yorick specifically, so much fodder to block your Mystic shots. Look at these ghouls that are just constantly in his way.
Annoying.
It's so frustrating.
He's trying to move in front of it, and he's taking extra damage because of it.
Yeah, and Zeus just keeps hitting these globs that are just doing so much damage and just setting these ghouls on them. And he's just like, Smash would have got so much more damage down if he didn't have to keep just Mystic shotting these ghouls. It's... Considering you have not only the Ezreal, but the Jace as well.
Yeah.
This undead army, this undead fodder, just blocking all of it is actually a nightmare for D+ right now. So the Yorick teamfight value coming in huge there. Ocean Soul for HLE, not the highest value soul, but the sustain is going to make a big difference, especially in these long drawn-out fights.
Yeah.
And HLE moved already onto the Baron. Lucid has no flash, he can't get in. No flash, no GA. So Baron secured by HLE. Soul in pocket. They're feeling pretty good. Ooh.
Arrow very close here. They just have to dodge. Kanavi just going to go in, gets the combo onto Looked like a clone.
Yeah, I think it was.
She was able to get away. The knockback on the Delight means it misses, and now Goom is down. Whole bot lane is down, but so is Smash. Does TK have the damage? Through comes through, and now Lucid and Showmaker are just chunking him down. Siu finally does hit the deck, but Konami and Zeus are just way too strong and tanky, and they can't get away from him. Zeus is just gonna begin pushing on in. TPs into the base.
It's actually Yorick, Div.
Team fight Yorick. Let's just tank both turrets, though. He is gonna go into his GA rather, as Lucid's not able to touch him either. Down goes the turret. Zeus says, "Who cares about the turrets? I will take down the Nexus."
HLE, it wasn't super clean. It was fairly one-sided, but a little bit messy. And ultimately came down to Konami once again being very aggressive, but doing a lot of good work on Jarvan, and Zeus just being a bit of a menace in the side lane, and really proving he is still a massive threat when he gets put.
페이스? 안 된다. 왼쪽에 잘 있다. 봐봐. 야 이거 오른쪽에 아질 있다. 페이스 노플, 페이스 노플. 오른쪽에 아질 있다. 페이스 프라포. 아질 아래 아질. 더블 1초. 이제 먼저. 이제. 나 봐줄래? 위에 나 봐줄래? 아질 페이스 노플이야. 아질. 아질 노플. 다 잡을 만하다. 끝내려갈 만한데. 끝낼만하다. 요리 구석이야. 끝내만해. 끝내보자 어때요? 나 하이 놓고. 뛰었는데? 뭐야 이거? 잘 싸워야 된다 이거. 잘못 안 죽잖아. 하이 노플. 나이스.